It's Matt Templeton with the Templeton Real Estate Group at Keller Williams. Today, I'm going to talk about something a little bit more technical. I'm going to talk about appraisals when selling or when buying and how that might affect the value or the price of the home that you end up buying or the price of the home you end up selling. Before I talk about appraisals though, remember, if you're ever looking for a home valuation, you can get us to come out and give you a free estimate, or you can get an online estimate on one of our websites by clicking the links below. You can also search every home that's on MLS, every home that's for sale online, all aggregated into one place on our website. Those links are also below. Today, I want to talk to you about low appraisals. And one of the things that we often talk to buyers and sellers about when they're in the market to do something is, what is this appraisal process? How does the appraiser get picked? How do I make sure it's fair? What are the dynamics here, and how will this affect me? So something you need to understand when an appraisal is done is after we've identified a buyer for a home. So if you're the buyer, the appraisal is picked randomly by the mortgage lender. It's through a pool, and it's someone that the mortgage lender cannot have communication with directly. So it's not selected by the buyer, it's not selected by the seller, it's not selected by the mortgage company. It's randomly selected through a pool of appraisers. And it's assigned because the appraiser's job is to verify the value for the lender. They're making sure that the lender's not over-loaning on a property. Now, most of our loans in the United States are backed by the government. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, those are all government-backed programs that allow for the liquidity of the mortgage market, because the government is injecting cash into the private mortgage market by essentially buying up that debt from the banks that are issuing the loans. That sounded probably really technical. And for those of you that are still following, the banks, when they issue loans, are not always keeping that money on their books, because otherwise we'd run out of money and then there wouldn't be enough loans and interest rates would go up, and the movement and the beautiful real estate market we have in the United States would not be able to happen. Because of that liquidity, the government has certain regulations they put on the lenders and on the lending process, including the appraisers. They tell the appraisers how much they can adjust certain values up or down, and what things they can adjust based on. What that means is that it's actually a cooling effect on values when it comes to getting mortgages and prices going up. Right now, we're experiencing prices increasing fairly rapidly across all of our markets. And what ends up happening is buyers are having to pay more than they might have even paid 6 months ago. The appraiser becomes almost a cooling effect, because they can only adjust, they can only move up the value so fast before there's not enough, because there's not enough comparables, and so they're using ones from a couple months ago, and they can only adjust so much higher. And so when the value is significantly higher than the last one, their adjustments cap out. And that's the short and easy way to put it. So what ends up happening is that many times the house that has sold for more than the one that was similar to it a few months ago can't get an appraisal. They say, well, this just sold for $320. Now it's appraising at, now you want to sell it at $350. It's not going to appraise for more than about $330. We can't adjust it too much higher than this very similar comparable just from a few months ago. And so what's happening is two things. One, we're getting low appraisals, which means that we've got to be ready to fight those and also discuss with the appraiser the reason why it's worth more. If we had multiple offers on a property, or if there's maybe some new comparables that haven't hit the MLS, the appraiser wasn't aware of, we can disclose those. So we're having a discussion with the appraiser, knowing that they are limited by those government regulations on how much they can increase above a certain property. So we're having that conversation. The other thing that we're having to do is on the front end, potentially, if you're a buyer or on a seller, when we're helping our sellers, get either an appraisal waiver or get the buyer to potentially agree up front to pay a little bit over appraisal. And what that means is that they're not actually necessarily paying more than what they agreed to, but they are potentially going to have to bring more cash to closing, because they still got to be able to bring whatever down payment amount they agreed to with the lender, 10% down, 20% down, 5% down. And then still bring some cash over whatever that amount was they agreed to with the lender was going to be their loan to value, or their amount they bring to closing. So sometimes we're seeing $10,000 waivers or $20,000 waivers, and that just means they're going to have a little bit of extra cash above that 5 or 10% to bring down to be able to purchase that home. There's several other strategies we're using to help our buyers win competitive bid situations. In fact, we are winning more often than we're losing, which is really exciting. And many houses, especially for you, those of you that might be thinking about selling, many houses are getting 5 to 10 offers. They generally have to be well marketed. They still have to be reasonably priced, and you have to navigate all the pitfalls. But houses are selling with multiple offers in the right when they're presented right. If you're thinking about selling and you're wondering, how do I make sure that I get the most amount of money without having to get slapped at the end where the appraisal brings it down? And sometimes that happens even when we try our best. And there's some things we can do to upfront kind of mitigate the risk of getting this high price and then the appraisal hurting us. And on the buyer side, things that we can do to offer and be competitive in our offer so that a seller likes our offer and it's more competitive. So in appraisals right now, we don't have to worry about, we do need to be aware of low appraisals. We don't have to worry about them, but there is a process and there is a very professional skill to navigating the appraisal and understanding what the rules and the laws and the regulations and the boundaries and parameters that the appraisers have to go through and how we navigate that. One of the other issues we've been having is the appraisers have been so busy, it's causing closing delays. So we have to be aware of getting the appraisal ordered early, making sure that we don't get to the end of the time and at the closing time and we're running out of time to get the appraisal. So that's all part of our contract to close management. Our system is about 200 points of documented checklist items that we're following and checking on for our sellers and our buyers. And that's just one of the main things that we focus on. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, make sure that you've got a professional on your side that's helping you navigate things like appraisals, whether you're on the seller side or the buyer side. Both sides need to care about this. And we'd love to be that team that helps you with that. If you want to reach out to us, of course, our contact info is below, and you can always come to our website and search or request information or read more articles on things like this. I'm Matt Templeton with the Templeton Real Estate Group. We appreciate that we get to serve you, and I hope you're having a fantastic month.